Ariella, in a sense, what it's like to be Jewish at Indiana U.
I would definitely say nerve-wracking. Just walking around campus, it can be very scary.
Eli from Columbia.
A full-time job that I did not sign up for.
Sil from UCLA.
I would say terrifying because a lot of students, thousands of students started to hate Jews, and I had to start hiding my identity.
Ava from Berkeley.
I would say stressful because you know that most people you meet and people you go to classes with won't like you whenever they know more about your identity.
Emmett from UMass.
I'd say it's like a double life in that I always want to be proud that I'm Jewish and show that, but I also don't want to instantly be hated by someone I meet for something I don't really control.
Garrett from Temple.
I've had friends who have been spit on because they have their Star of David hanging out, and I've been called a kike and a baby killer and things like that, and yeah, so I would just say it's hard.
Who does not feel completely safe on campus? Raise your hands. Almost all of you. Bally, what happened at Tulane?
Our administration does not protect us. I had to have police officers outside my house every hour throughout the night because our administration does not take proactive measures to ensure Zionist safety on campus.
Jilly, you're Ohio State. The administration hasn't come to your support or the Jewish community's support?
I remember a lot of anti-Semitic incidents, harassment, Jewish students getting punched in the nose and hospitalized for being Jewish. And I remember we were just waiting for the university to come out with a statement condemning it, and we never received anything.
Sil, UCLA, your experience, and did the administration come to the aid of the Jewish community?
Definitely not as much as they should. They terrorized our campus and they vandalized the buildings. Physical fights have been broken out, and it's just been terrifying to step on campus as a Jewish individual.
Michelle, University of Delaware, your reaction?
That is just appalling. Even the fact that there's this many of us that are concerned that we are in danger of being harmed and in danger of being attacked because we wore our Magen David or talked about something in favor of Zionism.
Ava, what specifically do you want the university to do to make you and other Jewish students feel safe?
Specifically, I would like my university to make it clear that it is not okay to treat Jewish students like this.
Garrett, what specifically do you want Temple University officials to do?
I would say just to hold the students accountable. There were students who vandalized our chapter house, and they didn't do anything about it.
Ariel, what do you want the Harvard University to do so that people like you feel safe?
A student was assaulted and they didn't do anything. I think they should enforce the rules that they already have before they do anything else.
What happened in the classroom?
Yeah. So at Temple, I was in a class basically just for like reading literature, and the teacher said, I think it would be basically like an injustice to not talk about the Israeli-Palestinian war. And then he proceeded to say, like, everything going on there is a genocide. Israel is a white supremacist country. And I mean, I was shocked.
My professor failed to condemn Hamas. I'm a public health major, and they speak and they teach in the context of oppressed versus oppressors.
3 days after October 7th, a professor had divided the room of students into colonizers and colonized, and so he was directly targeting Jewish students.
If you could send a message, not just to those professors, but to all professors about how it feels in that moment when they say those things and do those things in the classroom to alienate you as a Jew, what would you tell them?
It's just plain bigotry. It may not look like the bigotry they're used to, but that's what it is. It's anti-Jewish bigotry.
Teachers should look inward and think about their role as an educator and the fact that they are like someone that their students will look up to, will trust them to give them educational material and facts that are correct.
My family fled the Middle East due to religious persecution for being Jewish. And so to deal with this now in America in a classroom is honestly ridiculous.
How many of you, when faced with an anti-Semitic incident, will stand up to the person who was actually the perpetrator?
Ben from University of Washington.
I would do what I can to stop anti-Semitic incidents, but when it's a 10-to-1 kind of situation, it definitely becomes harder at that point and convincing others to do what they can.
I also have to worry about my own safety because it is at risk when standing up to anti-Semitism, and it is an important factor to think about. And as sad as that is to say, it's really true.
Okay, that is the crux. That is the reason why we did this session, what you just said. If you have the same concern that if you stand up for anti-Semitism, you are putting yourself in physical jeopardy, put up your computer hand. And keep it up until I ask you an oh my God. So people at home will not be able to see this, but it is almost every single person in this Zoom. Talia, Cornell.
We had in the fall a student who posted anonymously online that he was going to shoot up the Hillel and the Jewish the kosher dining hall. So you never know who's just posting it to, you know, scare Jewish students on campus versus who actually has a weapon, has the intention, and might just do it in the moment.
Eli, you can't stand up against anti-Semitism at Columbia?
If I'm one against 500 violent protesters, I will be there. Of course, no matter what, you're going to put yourself in extreme danger. But I believe if you take your kippah off, if you take your Jewish star off, maybe you're safer as an individual today, but as a people, we're much worse off for tomorrow. So the only way that we can make tomorrow a brighter future for the Jewish people is to stand proud at the center of campus with the biggest flag you can find.
Still, UCLA, is it that bad?
It is that bad. Me personally, I was too scared to walk and see the encampments myself.
Ron, is it that bad at Rutgers?
Yeah, I mean, I would say for one of the schools with the highest Jewish population, you'd think that it would be a lot easier as a Jewish student, which at least it is, having a group of like friends that are Jewish or Israeli. But at the same time, you can't go anywhere without having that fear of anti-Semitism.
All of the things that you have witnessed over the last year, how has it changed in any way the way you see yourself as a Jew?
I definitely have become more proud.
I think it's really the best way to counter anti-Semitism is just to remind them that you're Jewish and that you're not going anywhere.
I think it's just made me want to like be proud, and we're not going anywhere. And if we are, I'll go down fighting for it.
We really want to show our pride and show our resilience in all that we do. And that's how we specifically try to combat all the atrocities happening on our campus and other campuses as well.
How many of you are afraid to indicate you are Jewish on your campus?
I'm afraid that I'm going to be stabbed or shot. Every day I'm there with a flag. But I'm going to do it anyways and mentally tell myself I have no fear.
I wear my name in Hebrew on my necklace every single day, but when I do go to class or walking on campus, more specifically, I hide it. And it's not something I want to do, but I really am afraid for my safety.
How many of you would say you are more likely to lead a Jewish life after everything that you've gone through?
The Jewish people have survived for thousands of years and have gone through everything, and we're still here and we're still proud.
I just think it's so important to keep your faith and pass it on and make sure that the Jewish people are still growing.
Your identity as a Jew does become a lot of who you are in times like this, and how important it is that the same way our ancestors in the Holocaust overcame obstacles like this, we have to show that same resilience for generations to come.
We've always survived, we always thrived under these conditions. Although it may seem hard now, there's been way tougher times and we'll always get through it.
Put simply, they try to kill us, we survive, let's eat. It's the top priority in continuing is being more of a Jewish community, being more united, getting the word out there more, getting people who are already in the community to be more involved.
Something to consider that I find concerning is that prospective Jewish students on campuses are now straying away from attending these schools where Jewish voices are being diminished. And I think that's only going to further diminish Jewish voices.
You have rabbis listening. They want to know what they should say on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur.
Just giving some amount of hope or positivity in this difficult time. It's really easy for people to get very down and like being pessimistic about what's going on.
I want to hear positive and hopeful remarks from them.
I would say that there is a light at the end of the tunnel and that you're not alone.
I think it's important to remember that the destruction of the Second Temple was really because of sinat chinam, meaning like that baseless hatred. And I think we just need to remind ourselves that our biggest virtues and values is quite the opposite, in it being avat chinam, meaning unconditional love and unconditional support and advocacy in all that we do.
You should be proud, and you have a community that will support you and will continue to support you, and you should not be afraid.
Ariel, where do you go specifically if there's something anti-Semitic or strongly anti-Israel?
So I go to the Chabad because I don't think the administration will listen to me, and even if they do, they won't do anything.
I go to my other brothers in AEPI at my chapter.
Kayla, at USC, where do you go?
I go to Chabad. My rabbi is very supportive.
I go to my campus Hillel.
Sil, UCLA, where do you go?
I go to either the faculty at Hillel on my campus or the rabbi at Chabad.
Ava from Berkeley, where do you go?
I usually go to my house and pray. Like at Berkeley, there's no one you can really talk to be honest.
Okay, not one of you said the university administration. Not one of you. Why?
Plain out simple, they've been just horrible and they have not done their job to protect us.
When we had the FBI and pretty much all of the news channels crawling all over campus, and it was being written up every day what was going on in Cornell, and then they had to get involved. But other than that, they just don't care and they don't enforce their rules.
Daniela, at the University of Texas, what advice would you give to your president if they were listening right now?
Follow through with the consequences that you list out. Abide by the university laws. They exist for a reason.
Ariella from Indiana University, what would you tell your university president?
I would simply say treat us like you treat any other student. All we want is the same respect that other students are given.
Eli from Columbia, what would you tell your president?
Appeasing anti-Semitic groups does not work, and they must give accountability towards their students.
Ariel, what would you tell your president from Harvard?
I would tell him to look at the mistakes of our past president and to take this historic opportunity at a school like Harvard to set a precedent for all of America. And
Molly, what would you tell your president at Tulane?
Support all your students, enforce the rules equally, or step down.
Or step down. Wow.
What advice do you have for young Jewish students who are preparing someday to go to college?
My advice is to be more Jewish than ever before, and for the rabbis to tell these kids to be that way. Now is the time to encourage them that there's a reason that we've survived as long as we have, and there's a reason that we're going to survive even longer.
I would tell them to be careful and to also surround yourself in a Jewish community.
I would say that it is good to be aware of safety issues, but to never let those safety issues stop you from sticking up for what's right and hiding your Jewish pride.
You want to show that you're Jewish, and at the same time, surround yourself by people that you know will support you.
And Ariel from Harvard.
I'd say you cannot be afraid, and that if you stay away from these top universities, whether it be and you stay away from being yourself, you only let the other side win.